Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Appreciate you stopping by. We finally got us some time to repair that leaking boom cylinder on the excavator over there. As you saw in the beginning, I went and picked up my dad's home-built air compressor, pretty hefty sized one, so we can run, he brought me home a 1-inch impact, so hopefully we can spin that nut off the bottom of that rod without too much trouble. Pretty big stuff. I think it's like 80 millimeters. So hopefully that'll be enough juice to get that thing off. So let's get to it. So here's exactly what we're dealing with. This one always wept a little bit ever since I bought it. I knew that when I bought it, but it really was just enough just to keep it kind of wet and make the dirt stick to it. But now, as of probably a month ago, I noticed it's actually really kind of flowing out of here, and now enough to wash the dirt off, and it was making a little pool down at the bottom. So that's about the point where I think it's worth it just to go ahead and repair it. I've got a few essential tools I think we're gonna need laid out, maybe a couple other, but this should be enough to get us started. First things first, I got up there and cleaned off some of that excess grease, and we'll have to pull those retaining rings off of the end of these pins, and we'll just punch it through that way till we can get this one to drop down. So I actually forgot about this grease line, so before I start beating on pins, take that off before I forget and rip the line off. That's all there is to that. Here's the retaining ring right here. It's kind of hard to see, covered up with grease, but there's little pins that run through here to hold this pin from sliding around and falling out or rotating. So I just get a screwdriver and work these rings off. I'm probably gonna drop it. Whoa, got it. And then it will reveal, let's see if I can. So I ended up having to get a little punch, give it a little love tap, but I think it had a little lip on it or something. But that's all it is. Once you get it moving, it comes right out. And that's what's holding that pin in there from rotating or sliding out. So now I gotta do the same thing to the other side, and we can start tapping this pin through. Before I start beating that pin through and let that thing fall down, I figured I kind of forgot about these. I'll go ahead and knock these off. Might be easier to get to. Let's see. Oh yeah, nice and easy. Now, I don't remember if these are JIC or O-ring face or what, but I do have some caps now. I usually take these hard lines off here because I just put bags, Ziploc bags or plastic or something, and tape it up just to get them out of the way. But I'm gonna leave this barrel here on the machine. So, and these are right here, nice and accessible. figured it'd be easier just to do this. Plus, like I said, I got the caps now. That would be O-ring face. What a mess. Got our caps here. Get something to tighten that up with. This one, well, we got to have that off anyways, so we can actually get the rod out of there. What I mean by that is, if you left that cap, if you capped that line on that barrel, it would make like a suction. It wouldn't allow that fluid to come out of there, and it'd make like a suction. There's no way you'd get that rod and piston and all out of that barrel. Whew. A little bit of juice on there. I hope one rod will be enough. Maybe not. Maybe I should think about this. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and brace up this boom before I take this off. There we go. Good enough for who it's for. I think that bracing is good enough, but hey, if it falls and we die, we'll know it wasn't enough, and that we should have done more. But just in case, I might step back a little bit. Well, little hydraulic bath never hurt anybody. Looks like our O-ring popped out of there. Working on anything like this, rest assured you're going to come out smelling like hydraulic oil. Golly. Well, now that we've successfully covered everything with hydraulic oil, I think we're finally ready to start seeing if we can work this pin on through. Man, I'll be honest, I'm not real sure how to let this thing down easy. Well, we'll worry about that in a second. Let's see if we can get this pin to move right now. Oh yeah, I think it's moving. Let me scoot my ladder back a little bit. Yeah, I forgot that little ring comes off of there. Go set it on the table. Well, you know, that being the case, I actually guess I didn't have to take that retaining ring and pin out of that other side. It'll just push off with the pin. Oh well. All right, that's about enough. And figure out some way to let this thing down easy. So this was the best I could come up with on short notice, trying to balance speed with, I guess, safety. I don't know. Keep from tearing stuff up, really. I got this come along chain fall wrapped around a 2x4 up there, one of my trusses. I put some tension on it. I think it'll be enough to hold it. It's not ideal, but that's what we got. Let's see if we can just pull it off of there. There we go. Totally off of there now. Perfect. Well, this is working out better than I thought it would, to be quite honest with you. I figured we would have done cracked this 2x4 or something. Oh, I am going to have to knock that one hard line off there to get that gland off. All right, resting on the boards now. Perfect. So now what we'll do is, I was mistaken. I'm going to have to bust this hard line off so we can get this gland out of here more easily. And shoot, probably hook the tractor up, figure out yet another way to brace or hold this rod to pull it out. I need bigger tools, bigger everything, and a couple pipe stands. So this was a fantastic purchase for this machine. I got it off Amazon. Queso Man, however you want to say it. 1/2-inch drive, master impact hex driver set. 1/2-inch drive, it's standard and metric. So, got the case on the grease. For the little ones on top of that block on that hard line, it's going to be this one, I guess, a 6mm. I'm not sure which one it'll end up being for the gland nuts. I think it was, shoot, probably around 50, 60 bucks on Amazon. So we'll bust this off. And they come right out of there. There you go. So this one ended up being a 12mm for these. Let's see if we can, I might need an extension. I'd sure like to be able to use this thing, but it just might not work out. Might have to end up breaking them loose with a breaker bar. Let me grab that before I tear up a bolt. Get this thing in here. There we go. Goodness. Whew, that was tight. One of these tighten back up. I think I missed that. No, I don't think I missed it. Lots of brake cleaner on this job. So I cleaned this up a little bit, the rod and everything. And look at how bad this wiper seal is just gone. It was falling apart while I was cleaning it. I mean, this stuff is old, hard, and crusty. So finally getting around to it. It's been needing it for a little while. I'm also going to see if they have any of these dust seals for the, oh, there that went, for the pin, because this thing is about in similar condition, just falling apart. So I'm about to see if I can't split this gland off of here a little bit. Just a few taps. Oh, I think we got her. Oh yeah. She's coming loose. See if I got a little pry bar. Whoa. Had a bucket close by. So I've got it rigged up to the tractor to pull this rod out of here. We got that gland free. I'm gonna get my wife on the tractor and I'll try and catch this rod when it pops out of there. Whew. I know this is gonna be heavy. Back up real slow. That's good. Come on. A little more. All right, hold up. Oh, oh, oh. I was not ready. I actually just caught it. That's all right. So I got this thing in my little barn room here, and I thought this nut was an 80 millimeter based on some information offline. So I borrowed, and I don't have anything near that big, but I got friends that do. So I borrowed my buddy's 3 1/8 standard socket, which is equivalent to 80 millimeters, or close enough. That is not 80 millimeter. That is 75. Put a set of calipers on it. So now I'm gonna have to burn 2 hours to run all the way to his place, grab a 2 15/16 socket, which is equivalent to 75 millimeters. So that's fun. There's 2 hours of my life I'll never get back. But it's my mistake anyway, so paying my stupid tax. So here we got this 75 millimeter nut, and we got to get this set screw out of here before we start trying to bang on this nut. So that's a 5 millimeter set screw, and then there's also a little ball down in there. I thought that magnet would reach it. Let's see. Guess not. Oh, I feel it. There's a little ball in there onto that set screw. Got to keep up with that. I already tried starting this several times off camera. Having a little difficulty getting this thing running. Trying to pump it up. It's like it's not getting fuel. Fuel button is on. Restart for the tattletale. Got to hold that and start. Here's our speed adjustment here. Our throttle control. I'm not sure exactly where it needs to be, but it's really not wanting to start for me. Got a can of ether there to try and help. Let's see. It's really just like it's not keeping, it's not fueling. I might try and crack these injectors again. Golly, that thing is loud. Good Lord, that thing is screaming. Who parked this thing right here? I'm gonna fail my next hearing test at work. Good grief. All right, let's see if we can fire it up again. Apologize for the noise. Let's see what this does. About that. Well, that's something. That thing, man, that thing is loud. I guess I didn't think I was gonna use this table here when I parked the compressor right there. But that's what we were after. No idea what exactly that's for. I'm sure it's some kind of soft land maybe. These look really good. No grooves. Nothing. Let's try it. Let me get a napkin. This has little notches in it. Whatever this thing is, the notches are pointed down towards the threads. Now let's see if we can't get this gland off. There we have it. See if we can break down this. Oh, losing my napkin. Ugh, this dirt seal is just, wiper seal is just trashed. Gross. Crusty. Crusty. That's really what holds the wiper seal in there, is this metal band. That rubber is the seal, and this just kind of to hold it in. Should be one piece. So down in here, there is a couple of other seals. That one feels really hard. Oh, I see it's got a split in it over here. Maybe we'll try there. Not sure if this is something that has to be replaced, so I'm trying not to tear it up. Might be better just to get this U-cup seal out of here, because we know that has to be replaced. So this is your main seal right here. This U-cup seal, and see it's all hard. I didn't do that. I didn't do all that anyways. Cracked and busted like that. So that's where our leak was. But they definitely have some of those. Now let's see if we can get this other ring out of here. And this little ring I'm pulling out was right above the U-cup seal. Kind of for my knowledge later, putting this back together. I don't really know the purpose of these little hard rubber or hard plastic rings. Backup ring maybe, just to keep it in place. Not real sure. Anyhow, this U-cup was pointed down towards the pressure, and this ring was sitting right on top of it like that. Not sure if we'll need to replace this. I didn't tear it up, but the U-cup definitely. I'm gonna bag this stuff up and head to the hydraulic shop to get some seals before they close, and ask them if I should even dive down into this any further and pull out any more. There's a couple other O-rings and secondary seals in here. I'll see if those should also be replaced. Just a couple days later, I've got our new seals here to get this thing back together. Had a little issues getting some of them, but we've got that sorted. This gland is completely torn down. Everything's off of it now. But while I was cleaning it up, I noticed where I drove that screwdriver down here to split it apart, I kind of rolled that metal over a little bit. So before we go to putting this back together, I'm just gonna run a little file across here to knock down this high spot, just so it doesn't interfere with the mating surface whenever we go to put it back together. I believe that'll do. So here we've got our new U-cup seal, secondary seal, kept that same little backing ring for the U-cup. A new wiper that'll go right here. This O-ring and backup ring for here on the bottom side of this gland. And then also got a piston seal and backup ring for the piston. I have an old paint can with a little bit of hydraulic oil in it. And what I like to do is take these seals and O-rings and mostly just these seals, and especially the Teflon seal for the piston, because I believe this seal here is made of Teflon, and it doesn't like to stretch. So I soak them in this hydraulic oil, and I'll hit the bottom of this can with a little torch to heat them up and make them a lot more pliable, and they won't if you stretch them when they're cold, it's like they want to stay stretched, but if you warm them up, they'll stretch easier and they'll kind of conform back to their original size. So first I'll take this can and start warming up that hydraulic oil. Doesn't have to be too hot, just a little something. That'll really help those seals go in a lot easier. Alright, our seal has sat in there for a little while, softened up. So we'll get it out. Also kind of pre-lubes them. So the way I like to do these glands is kind of build them from bottom up, because it's easier to get to. You kind of want this is kind of shaped like a cup. You'll want that pointed down towards the pressure side, which is always going to be the bottom of the gland in this scenario. So we'll just ease it in there and start working it into this groove. Alright, got that one in. Put this little backing ring in here, and it just kind of sits on top of it. Alright, that's in place. Now we'll do the same thing with our U-cup. We'll throw it down in the hydraulic oil and let it soften up. Alright, we gave that U-cup a little time to warm up. We'll do the same thing. Start working it down in there. They make these tools that'll almost fold it into a, I don't know, kind of a W shape. Kind of hard to do without that little tool, but this gland is so big it's not too bad just to work it in there by hand. Alright. Kind of work that seal down a little bit. Now we'll take our hard plastic ring and start working it in. Finally, that was a booger. Next, we'll slip this O-ring and backup ring onto the bottom of this gland here. I'm going to lube them up a little bit. So the backup ring will go towards the back, and the O-ring will go in front. If we're going to call this the front, I suppose. Now that we're done with all the seals inside the gland, I went ahead and cleaned up this inner ring for this wiper seal one more time, and I've got the wiper seal here, and how it's going to go in is this little lip you can see here. It's going to be facing up to wipe the dirt off the rod as it goes in and out. So I've seen several people do this. I've never done it with Loctite, but putting Loctite on the outside to help seat it and stick it in place. I've done quite a few cylinders and have never had a wiper seal pop out, but it didn't seem like a bad idea, so I figured we'd just go ahead and do it. Normally, how I like to do them is get a socket the same size as the wiper and put it on top and hit on top of the socket so it presses it down evenly, but I don't have a socket that big, so I'm just going to use a rubber kind of mallet to try and get it without tearing anything up. That's that. Gland is all done, ready to go back on the rod. So I'm going to try and do this piston seal before it gets dark on me. I've already got everything out here. I have the new seals sitting in the hot hydraulic oil, warming up, stretching out. So I'm going to go ahead while that's warming up and pull this old piston seal off of here. Actually, might end up cutting this joker just so I don't fight it. There's the old seal. Here's our old O-ring here. Just kind of roll that pick or seal spoon, whatever you have. I need some of those seal spoons. Picks can get you in trouble. Alright, here we've got our nice warm new O-ring. Whoa. Stretch it over. Get it in place, make sure it's not rolled. Alright. Here's for the tough part, this Teflon seal. This thing can be a booger. That's why you get it nice and hot and warmed up. I tell you, I often debate on if changing these dang piston seals are necessary or not, because it wasn't like the cylinder was falling down. It was the gland seal leaking, but I guess if you're in it this far, it's almost worth it just to change it anyways. But it sure can be a pain. There it goes. That's kind of difficult to see, but I'm just using this straight pick to kind of work it down to the next groove. Let's see, here's where I'm at. Let's see if I can't. Do this better angle. There we have it. Now we'll just put our wear bands back where they came from. I didn't replace these. I think these have a pretty long life on them. And there's no grooves in any of them or anything like that. And there we have it. Piston seal replaced. Ready to be reassembled. Alright, all these seals back together. I'm going to get a little bit of hydraulic oil in here to smear on all these seals, so we can be sure to not roll any of them or get them bound up. I'll end up rubbing a little bit on this rod. Try and get this done before it starts raining on me. All right. Gland will come first. Let's see. Of course, as soon as I get home, it starts raining. But we're still gonna try and make a little progress. Might just at least get this gland on here and the piston and get the nuts started. That might be it if this rain don't slack up. I'm just gonna use this little rubber mallet and try and get this there we go. Alright, so next will come whatever in the world this little piece is, and it had this hard plastic ring right here. Still not entirely sure what that's for. This piece was, it had a tapered, this end here is tapered, chamfered, however you want to say it. It's got 2 marks across here, got 4 marks down here, and I can see on the back of the nut that goes below it that it was on this way. I'm sure this is some type of a soft landing. If you know, were driving the bucket, the boom down real hard, it might soften the blow. So next will be the piston. This little washer, and then the nut. Now that we have that nut torqued down to exactly factory specifications. Put a little ball and set screw back in here. There's a groove that runs around the bottom of this rod that holds that little ball, kind of slips down in that groove to keep this nut from backing off. And then the set screw just holds the ball. I'm going to add a little bit of a hit to these punch marks. Roll that metal over that set screw so it won't back out on us. That's hot. So we're finally done banging that nut back on the bottom of that rod over there. So we're done with this air compressor and the 1-inch impact there. But I just wanted to briefly talk about this air compressor. I said home built in the beginning of the video. My dad bought this. He actually bought 2 of these compressors just like this one from, I believe, an auction from an old power plant or something that shut down, and they were ran off of a 3-phase motor. Then he bought this trailer motor, which was hooked to a pump. The motor was bad, so it was basically just bought the engine and the gas tank, diesel tank trailer. So what he ended up doing was turning this John Deere 4-cylinder diesel engine sideways, built this bracket to mount this compressor on here, and actually turned it into a belt drive for the compressor instead of direct drive for the pump, and built a whole tensioning system. So now he's got a belt driven, really high flow air compressor, which is bad to the bone. I have no idea what it puts out, but I bet that diesel engine's probably 75-80 horsepower. Once it fires up, it runs like a top, and he was so kind as to let me use it. Finally ready to stab this joker back together. I've got this thing kind of set in here, just shoved up a little bit. Everything's looked like it's going in good. I added a little bit of hydraulic fluid just to lube it up a little bit more before I shoved it in. And I might need to pick this up just a smidge. Alright, it looks about level. Got us a nice chunk of wood here. Pretty well centered up. See if we can bang her home. Oh yeah, thing's going in nice. That's almost in enough. About to lose her 6x6 there. Alright, that's good enough. Well, this has been about the biggest, well, this is the biggest cylinder that I've rebuilt. It wasn't bad at all. A little heavy, but not too bad. We'll go ahead and start drawing this gland on in with these bolts. Alright, got them snugged up, hit them a little bit with this breaker bar. Alright, I'm satisfied with that. Man, I'm glad to be having this thing going back together and not leaking. Been needing to use this thing. Things are growing, and I'm ready to tear some more trees down. So there is an O-ring under this block. I did not replace it because it wasn't leaking before. I do have extras for these, so if for whatever reason it starts leaking, it's nothing just to pop this back off, change it, and be good to go. Did forget to kind of shove this rod in a little bit more to make it line up where this, whenever we pick it up, where that pin's gonna go through. That's it. So I went ahead and hooked everything back up on that rod, like the grease line and the 2 hydraulic lines here on the bottom. So let's get it fired up and see if we have any leaks. So I warmed up the machine and exercised it a little bit right here in the yard. We are looking real good. No leaks around the end of the gland. Nothing coming out of there, of course. And even our O-ring on our block here is holding. Connections down here aren't leaking, so we're looking good. I imagine we're gonna need a little hydraulic fluid. Oh yeah, just a little bit, not too bad. Well, guys, that's all there is to it. It's really not that bad. A little time consuming, but it's kind of enjoyable. Anyhow, I appreciate y'all stopping by and seeing what we got going on. Please like and subscribe and stick around. Maybe there's no telling what we'll be working on next. Appreciate it.